What does it mean to me to be an artist? To be an artist means to explore the subconscious. It means to explore territories that maybe you once had left closed or once just walked away from. It's really about creating models of the subconscious physically and bringing that into life and exploring that meaning and understanding what it all means. And I think that my journey as an artist has really helped me understand that, maybe there were some aspects of my life that I kind of, pushed under the carpet because I was uncomfortable with them and I didn't know what it all meant and stuff. And it was always really important for me to understand these things, because when we, run away from things that we're scared of in life, we tend to just try to neglect them. And just because we neglect them doesn't mean that they go away. But of course, art for me, in all forms, visual, audible, music and everything, video, film, it's really been my attempt at representing my experiences in life and what those experiences mean to me and how they've impacted me, how they've helped me, how they've changed me, how they've evolved me, and what that all means. And I think it's really important to explore that. Yeah, I think that we're all artists. I think that we have, the more we can look at this ability to create on such a more profound level, rather than looking at it as, oh, I'm not creative, oh, I'm not an artist because of this, because, I'm a cook and there's no, creativity behind cooking, which of course there is, or, oh, I'm this and there's no creativity behind this and therefore I'm not an artist. But really, there's art in everything. There's art in everything that we do, and it's just incredible. There's art in nature, there's art in understanding things, and it's such a profound thing. And I'm grateful to be where I am in terms of the creative process and to be able to grow with that, because it just it's so profound and powerful and beautiful, and I'm super grateful for it. I seriously got into art in a time when I was going through a spiritual transformation, my first spiritual transformation actually. And it's interesting too, because the way that I deemed myself as an artist was very much in terms of awakening. And it's interesting too, because a lot of people have asked me about Awaken Space, the podcast name. But before that came Awake in Space, AWAYKEINSPACE. And this was really my representation of awakening, of understanding myself as this being in space, in this endless vast space. And it's been so interesting too, because the different art pieces that I've created have really represented that, all these different kind of abstract pieces. I remember creating pieces of spacemen and stuff, just drifting off into space. Rocket ships have been a massive aspect of this journey, and it's just been so interesting. I really started off with black and white and everything, working with that kind of stuff. And it's been a super fun journey. I'm super happy to be where I am in terms of being an artist and being creative. It's super exciting to see it evolve. It's awesome to see how things were years ago as compared to how they are now. How I approach art pieces, now as compared to back then. I used to completely overthink everything. Completely. It would literally stop me from finishing a piece because I just overthought the process of, starting it, going through the process, and then finishing it. But what really matters is that we're connected to what it is that we're trying to create, and that we understand what it is that we're trying to create. Even if it's not in the moment of creating it, at some point in our lives, we will understand it. Jim Carrey even said, it's fascinating how he sees some of his art pieces teaching him what he needed to know about himself years prior to. And it's so interesting how it works too. We're literally creating models of the subconscious. And, hopefully we're creating something that people can identify and connect with. And that's really what it's all about. That's what being an artist is about. I remember too, I was telling my psychologist about this years ago. One time, so I was working on a piece of music. As a musician, for me, or a music producer, whatever you want to call it, I'm someone who, whenever it is that I get a harmony or melody in my mind and it keeps playing over and over and over again, I have a tendency to want to perfect that. And this one day, what happened was I was working with a piece for a while, and I was really trying to ground myself with a very specific set of notes and everything, and chord progressions and all that stuff. And what ended up happening was I went to take a shower. I kid you not, this literally happened. I went to take a shower, and like mid-shower, while I had soap all over my body, I started thinking about like new chord progressions, or actually how to finish this track that I'd been working on for a long time. And what ended up happening was I just decided to get out of the shower with the soap still on my body and go right over to my workstation and just like put it in and finish it up. And this is something that I love so much about being an artist, is that like it could happen at any time. Like you could be like, you know, totally asleep. It could be 3 a.m. and you could get up and you could be like, I need to put this down right now. And it's so interesting too, because I think something similar happened with like Prince, it may have been, or like Michael Jackson. Like he got up at like, you know, at some crazy hour in the middle of the night and just decided that he needed to create something, you know, and if he hadn't done it, then, you know, someone else was going to do it. And it's just so interesting. The creative process is something that I find very fascinating, because it clearly doesn't care about what you're doing. If it's important enough, you'll do something with it. And that's what I love about it. It's so interesting. So that's something that has really taken me to a place of awe, like an honest place of awe, that I'm very excited to experience, because it's so genuine, it's so unique, it's so wholesome, it's so incredible. And yeah, I think that my experiences with like, you know, Awake in Space earlier on, and even now with Awake in Space for the podcast, you know, the whole journey of the podcast, whenever I get an idea, I will stop literally everything that I'm doing just to put that idea down on paper. And it's such a wonderful experience, you know. I think that being an artist is something that we all have the ability to tap into, regardless of whatever, you know, genre, if you will, you know, if you'll call it in life, we decide to take whatever it is. There is creativity inside of absolutely everything that we do. And that's just, you know, that's the fact of the matter. So